Hello everyone. Welcome to day 9 of Building an Autonomous AI Scientific Research Project. Okay. So, where are we till now? Okay. So, till now, we have built the Streamlit app. Everything is done, set. Okay. Only thing needed is that I'm getting errors in my Docker's file. Okay. Basically, particularly in my Docker image, the image is not being created for which the deployment is still under progress. Okay. So by today itself, all the Docker's file and necessary items will be updated as if my code is already updated on my repository and it is a public repo. So you guys can just go and search it and you can just find all the codes pertaining to this particular project and surely it will help you. So, and with respect to Aditi, what she had done, she have successfully uh, created the four parts of this 10 AI paradigms, which is LLM, Gen AI, RAG, and what else? Agentic AI, right?
No, I have just used these three. I've not used Agentic AI
Okay, so
in my
you have
first.
used LLM, Generative AI, and RAG.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you can start with your explanation, means like how did you reach those and what is the current progress?
sure. Mm, Let me show. Like, finally, I've done with something. It is better than nothing. Okay, I'll show. Wait. See, this is my file. Now I'll run my program. Basically, our first step will be it will provide us the summary, right? Summary as well as we have 2 minutes and it will give us the output. For this first step, we have used LLM. Yeah, step we have used will give us the summary of this particular document. And I'll tell you in here I have inserted the part of my PDF, path towards my PDF. So my PDF name is 73301. It is basically a research paper, which is based on hygiene as well as GenSec.
What is GenSig?
GenSec and hygiene are two main, like, these are some theorems, right? I also exactly don't know about it. I've not read, but yes, I was using that research paper. Now see, I am not explaining you what is GenSec and what is hygiene, but yes, my program will definitely explain you. Just wait for it. Since we are going to perform 4 steps here, so it is taking time. Like if it would be just 1 or 2 steps, then the program would be, like, you can say, much more fast.
Meanwhile, you can explain requirement.txt file, Aditi.
Oh yeah, sure. So this is requirement txt where whatever libraries we are required for this program are here. Like everything is mentioned in this particular file. I'm very good. I'm very bad at explaining. So yes, if I've missed some point, Avinash, you can cover that.
Yes, so
It's
you want
taking.
me to explain that requirement.txt file.
No, I explained it, but you have good examples to explain, right? So I thought maybe if I'm missing something or if you want to add something, you can do.
Yeah, okay. Basically, due to
Okay,
my network error,
Naini.
as you know, I hate Geo. So for that particular reason, I didn't got you. Means like your voice break in between, and I thought that you haven't spoken a word. So for that reason, means like I had asked.
Nee, nee, I was saying that I already said that requirements.txt file is the path where we usually write like whatever libraries are required are right. So I just said that if I'm missing some point, something, then you can take over.
Okay. So basically, like requirement.txt, no, Aditi, if you will be explaining this project. So, for example, some HR round, or for example, some interviewer just asked you, okay, what were your libraries you have used particularly in this project? Okay, so you have to answer him like you have used their PDF Lumber, right? So basically, what PDF Lumber does, PDF Lumber basically it helps us to read the PDF files, right? You have used LangChain there, right? So basically, LangChain is a module, or we can say it's a library used for large language models, right? You have used their sentence transformers, right? So basically, what's the use of sentence transformers? Basically, the sentence transformer is it's just use like a regex command, means like it helps us to um, make the chunks of our sentence and transform our sentence, right? So this in short, you next time when you will be explaining anything requirement.txt, okay, so you should explain it, right? Why? Because the interviewer or anyone will not ask you what you have written here if not os.path exist means line number 26. He will not ask what this particular line means, or he will not ask that what particular line means in line number 38, what it's doing there, right? He will not ask. He will only ask what's the function of chunks.py, or what's the function of vector store.py. Okay. And again, he will not ask you to represent your project in front of him, right? He will not ask to just display your project. He will only ask what all things you have done in this project, right? So whenever you are explaining, no, you have to explain what this init.py means, what this chunkers.py means, and basically in requirement.txt, what all libraries you have used and what's the function of that libraries, right? And also like test imports.py, test project.py. So basically here you have to explain ki basically these are the test modules you are preparing it. Test modules in the sense, for example, before running your project on a Streamlit application or before deploying it, you should run the test cases, right? So particularly to run that particular test cases, you need definitely a test.py file, right? So for that particular thing, for each and every module, you are building a test file. So that is a good approach. And how and why you are building it, right? This thing you have to explain it to the interviewer so that he will be convinced that you are an experienced AI developer or AI engineer,
Okay.
right?
Thank you, Avinash, for this explanation. Really good explanation. Now we are here with the output. Like it is giving the title, but I cannot say this is an appropriate title for this. Apart from that, see, it is giving us the summary here. Now, step one is successfully completed. Now it is asking, Ki, do you have any question to ask about this document? Do you want to ask? So, what is GenSim, right? So, let me ask. See, if I will, in this particular step two, what it will do, I'll tell you. When you will ask certain words, like I've just written GenSim, but you can also write what is GenSim.
It is like some related with Gen Z.
No, no. Gensim, it will give you the explanation. Basically, it will not give you the explanation. What it will do, it will chunk your code in parts, right? No, not exactly code, a PDF in parts, and then will give you all the parts where this particular word is used. Gensim, right? So I will, what is Gensim if I write? It will give me five chunks where this is used. Like Gensim is reconstruction, also describes the experiment that the biologist performs and the alternative hypothesis that biologist. The Gensim program was designed to meet several proposed to explain the outcomes of their explanation constraint. It must provide a framework for representing both. Predicts the outcome of an, it is a prediction. Prediction is for hype gene to generate hypothesis for, say, either a tuple, okay, existing. Gensim will first revoke all the segment at current position of RNA. Basically, it is based on some biological terms, and I cannot say I'm good at biology. So yes. Now, like, if you want to ask, the next question would be like hype gene. So, okay, it is still running. It's just need 1 minute. Then it will ask you the another question. Ki, do you want to ask one more question? Like, if yes, you can type the question. If no, you can just press enter, and that program, sorry, the second step would be over. Then we'll move on to the next step. Let's wait for this step first.
RNA basically is somewhere similar to DNA, means like it's some related to genes.
Yes,
So
it
this
is.
PDF means like some genes type of thing. It's doing that.
Hmm. Yes, yes. In our next step, it will obviously give if we have asked for sorry, gens. So if we have asked for Gensim, in the next, it will give us more related information about Gensim. This process will use mm, RAG. No, not generate. Will give you generative answer. Like based on this PDF, it will generate the answers, you can say.
So it is using LLM and generative AI or LLM or
Ha,
RAG.
no, no. See, step is using RAG, but step three is using generative AI. So, like, do you want me to ask hi, or we can move on to the next?
Move on to the next thing.
So, we'll just press enter and it will exit. Now we have asking, should we move on to the step three? Yes. Now it will give us more information on the search that that we have made in our last step. Your interface was really good. I can say like the interface you built, but I was doing it like this. Like I didn't create.
The Streamlit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's no issues with that. At the end, you should understand the concept working behind it. And you told that it's
Obviously,
the generative AI working, but I may be wrong. It's like I don't have enough information. I'm still learning. Like, but this is using RAG, right? It's giving the information based upon the files which you have uploaded,
I've just
sorry,
uploaded
which you have
one.
trained. Yes, which you
Wait,
have
tell you.
trained.
I'll tell you. Nee, I'll tell you what is the difference between RAG and generative AI. RAG is something that will give you answer based on what you have given. Like if you have given the story of tortoise, rabbit, then if you will ask what is rabbit, the RAG will give you what was present in me, will chunk it up and it will give you those paragraphs only. But generative is something give you, it will generate the answer. Okay, for example, if कि what was tortoise name. So it will give you exactly the name instead of just chunking and giving the PDF wherever he have found that word. Do you understood?
Yeah, I understood.
Yes. So it is taking time. See, I'll tell you earlier when I was just testing and I was running my code, I asked the same question, what is Gensim, right? So with this generative AI, what it gave, reconstruction also describes the experiment. I just put Jensen instead of what is Jensen. So this is the reason I'm getting this. So what it did, it is just like whatever outcome came out of that PDF, right? It is using that and it did this paragraph. Jensen reconstruction also describes the experiments that biologists perform and the alternative hypothesis that the biologist, the Jensen program was to meet several proposed uh, to the outcomes of their experiment. Thus constrained, it must provide a framework for representing both program. Jensen predicts the outcome of an experiment. Its prediction put. Did you notice?
What?
Okay, maybe you can read this. Hygiene is an intelligence program that achieve the current hypothesis. Thus, of task. You can see the level of giving now and the level of answer it gave earlier. Like here you this was this was what it was earlier, and this is what it is giving now. So it has generated output based on our search. Now, should we move on to step 4? Do you want to move on to step 4?
Yeah.
Yes. No hypothesis found. Okay. Like, mm, okay, I was training this step, and since I was searching on some other, so I gave some data set, but maybe I have not inserted that in the program. Like I was still on process. So I guess we are stuck at step 4. Basically, step 4 would be I have created some data set. Like it will ask, like if I'll give some data set, be trained on that data set and will give, um, okay, I'm mistaken. No, no. And it will give us the hypothesis based on that 4 or 5 data sets. Or the basically it is or it is just like uh, you have given books to a librarian. Librarian has many books, right? So it will work as librarian because we have inserted many data sets and many information. It will be like in with data set, and when you'll ask some question or something, means the question you have asked earlier will give a hypothesis based on that question. Like in this step, it should give hypothesis based on we asked related hypothesis. But I've not inserted, maybe like I've not inserted data set in the code. So yes, we are not moving on with the step 4. Like
So no
earlier,
worries.
what I did, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Means like previously you went even to build the first model itself, but
Earlier
right now
actually I inserted in
you have moved on to step 3, so that is really appreciable. Means like, yes, you are doing it, and ultimately by a couple of days you will be able to move on with the 10th step using all those 10 AI paradigms which we have
We
used
have
here.
mentioned. Yes.
Yes. So Kim, so what I will do for my part, I will just explain basically the structure of the program as well, so that it will help you also to understand what will be your next steps and how it will be helpful for you, right?
Mhm. Yes.
So just give me a second. Is my screen visible?
Yes, now it's visible.
Okay. So here means like basically what this project does, right? So just assume uh, your project is a smart robot, right? Which will help in reading, understanding, and analyzing the research paper. And each file or folder is like a specific part of this robot's brain, right? If you understand human brain as well, right? So basically, there is three parts of human brain is there, right? One is cerebellum, one is cerebrum, and the third part I don't know. Again, I'm not a biology student.
Medulla.
Medulla, yeah. So basically the functionality of our brain, how does it works, right? It's basically dependent on cerebellum. If our cerebellum doesn't work, then obviously the whole functionality of the brain will not work. Our body will not function. So just assume we are building a robot which will basically what is an AI? At the end, AI is a robot itself, right? So we are building a robot, and what this robot will do, this robot
An
will,
intelligent robot.
yes, intelligent robot which will analyze the research paper, and he will give you the answers pertaining to that particular research paper, and he will generate some new ideas as well, right? And each folder or file structure is same as like that. Okay, so if we will look at the project structure overview, right? So the project structure of my project, which looks like agents, you can see here app was there, data, docs, evolutionary, examples, logic, models. So basically these all things and other files were there, right? So basically these all things were the brains, part of brains, means like if we understand the human body as well, right? So basically six senses are there to function it properly, right? And if one of our senses, not basically six sense, it's five senses. So basically if one of the sense will not work, then our functionality will not work good, right? Whether if we can't hear, can't see, can't taste, can't smell, so obviously we are lacking somewhere, right? So obviously we need eyes, we need nose, we need tongue to do all things, right? So basically just assume these all 13 folders, which is here, the architecture, it is our sense organs, right? So if I will move ahead, what is basically agents? Okay, so basically agents, it helps us to make the decision smart, right? So you can think here, think of these as small robots or mini brains that work together to carry out intelligent tasks, right? So basically in my agents, small basically agents mean what? Agentic AI is working behind it. For that particular reason, small robots is there, a small agentic AI is there, which is combining the five sense organs is there, each sense organ, small step is there, right? And they are implementing it to make our body function properly, right? So basically that's the thing of agent here. Again, and within agent, two files are there. One is cognitive planner.py and one is orchestra.py. Okay, so basically cognitive planner.py, what will be doing, by the name itself, planner.py, it's plan the task to do a list, to-do list manager for the assistant. For example, a manager is there in the company, right? So what he will make, he will make the to-do list. Okay, for example, if you're working, right? So your manager or your CEO will give you a to-do list. Okay, Aditi, you have to do these things. Avinash, you have to do these things for the today's task, right? So basically, he's the one who is planning the things, who is carrying out the things that this should be done, right? If you are handling a client, then ultimately you are telling them, okay, these are our next few weeks goal. So we will try to we are planning to execute this, right? And orchestra.py is the main controller. Basically this file will control all the robots, that it should work in a systematic way, right? For example, you have planned something, right? You have planned something, then what you will do? Ultimately, you will divide the task among your team members, right? So at the end, it's the team lead or the team manager who is working with all those employees, all those interns, that whether they are working good or not, and if there is no fight among themselves, right? While working, if he's telling I'm working good, is so basically he is the one who is controlling and he is keeping an eye. Basically, orchestra.py is the it's working like this, and basically these two files are again inside our agents file, right? And when we will move on to our app, so basically this is the core engine, right? These are the brains of your assistant. They do everything from reading papers to generating insights, right? So basically it will reading papers and generating insights, right? What do you understand by this term? Reading papers, it helps with the help of LLMs, right? It will read the papers, and generate insights means generative AI. Okay, so basically in app.py file, all the thing is working there, right? You have also seen, you have used their init.py, right? So basically init.py, by the word itself, init, you can recall one thing from the object oriented programming which Python involves. Basically init.py means it is a constructor, right? Marks the folder as a package, think is it a for as a label. So basically what constructor does, constructor obviously assigns the default values to your variables, right? So basically this is also doing the same thing. He's labeling our each chunks, our each module. Basically it's labels us, right? And advanced analytics.py, what it does, it performs a smart analysis like math genius. Okay, batch processor.py, basically it handles the large groups of tasks at once, right? And you can move your citation network py, it maps how papers are connected with each other, right? I have used 19 papers there. So how papers were interconnected with each other, was there any relation into it, was there any, it's like just take an example of an sql in a table, the data sets are there, right? How these data sets are interlinked with each other, right? So obviously there will be some link. Just take of a sales data, right? So if you will just go and look how many sales, how what is the profit of the company, right? So obviously you will have a sales data, you will have a employees data, right? So within the employees data, who is the one working? The sales team is working, and in the sales data, the sales team ID will be there. So within that particular column, you can make joins. So by basically, it's not joins. I'm over explaining the things, but for you to just simply understand, it will check the, it will map just like a dictionary. Okay, so basically it is the dictionary working behind it, right? And data recommender.py, it suggests the useful data like a helpful librarian, which you have told you, which you have told now, right? You explained just some libraries where the librarian is there, right? He will help us to research well, right? And again in hypothesis gen.py, it create new scientific ideas or guesses hypothesis, new scientific ideas, generative AI, which you have told about that particular word. I just forgot now what was that word. Okay, so basically it does, and injects.py, basically it reads and stores the papers. Basically this file is that we are injecting the paper inside it, right? And insight dots agent, by the name itself you can see extracting insights. Model cache.py, it stores the model for reuse like a memory card. Okay, so for example AI models are there, and if you have to reuse again and again, for example if you are using a chat gpt, right? So when you are using a chat GPT and you are asking him several questions, right? So what it will do, it will give you the answers related to what you have asked earlier, right? So basically it's that. And again, it's the model tester.py. It will test all the models, that whether it's working or not. It's better to test our model itself, right? Just for example, uh, you have an exam, like, or you have an interview, right? So before that interview, you are appearing for mock interview, right? And your mock interview decides whether you are going to qualify that interview or not, right? So for that particular reason, I'm using model tester.py. It will help us to know whether our model will perform well or not. And if it's not performing well, we will definitely increase. For example, in your mock interview, you might not be able to answer some questions, technical round questions, right? So what you will do, you will generally learn those questions, you will understand those concept behind it, right? And after understanding, again, you will appear for mock interview. And when you successfully complete that, you will be able to crack the interviews, right? So basically, model dot tester what that, and rag system.py, it combines the search and AI generated answers. AI generated answers means the generative AI working behind it, generative AI and LLM. Basically, the search. Who was doing the search here? The LLM behind it was searching it, right? And it was the generative AI who was generating the answers, right? So LLM was searching, generative AI was generating the answers, and RAG is basically combining those, just like the same thing which you have told. Okay, like if you want to search some certain term inside our research paper, right? So what do we need? Obviously, two things is working behind it, and if you are combining it, RAG is able to give the proper answers, right? And again, in research paper process, it prepares the papers for analysis, right? Similarly, these all things was there in app.py, which is basically the brain of our, which we can say the master brain, the cerebellum. Brain has three parts, but who is involved in controlling our body? It's the cerebellum. Okay. And just take a short example, means like a drunk man. Why he's not able to walk? Because alcohol hits the cerebellum and it doesn't work when someone is drunk. So for that reason, he can't put his footsteps, whether he have to go right, wrong, right, wrong. So depend his cerebellum is not working. So basically, this is the cerebellum of our project app.py, right? And here, data storage room. This folder holds the data. And ChromaDB, basically, it's the database used for quick document searches, right? And again, when you will deploy your model on GitHub, right? So you should know these terms. ChromaDB is there, VectorDB is there. So these are the important terms related when you are building some AI projects. And these are the terms which you should use when you are appearing for some interview, right? He will ask whether you have used the VectorDB or not. So what you will tell? No, no. Instead of vector, we use the ChromaDB here, right? And again, he will ask the what's the difference between vector and chroma, right? So again, you have to do research, everything in a detailed way, and then you will be able to explain the project. And when you will be able to explain your project so perfectly, so being a fresher as well, you will be able to land a job. Why? Because this is the professional work which we are doing it, right? None of the professional also uses all these 10 AI tools, right? And the deployment also, we are using a Docker to deploy it. We are not using a simple GitHub or Streamlit. So Docker is something which is used in industries, right? It is not used with by some students or some big beginners, right? So basically, these are the things. And docs, basically, it's for documentation. Okay, evolutionary.py, it's again hypothesis file is there. In my evolutionary, it tests and improves the hypothesis using evolution rules, how it has evolved. Okay. And some examples are there. Notebook basic research pipeline shows the full basic workflow of the assistant. So basically, these were the Jupyter notebook files which I have built, which will show the basic workflow, how this uh, AI assistant works, right? And again, here in logic, it will check if the different pieces match or not, right? Contains the rules. Symbolic AI means it contains the rules. That what the symbolic AI means. It will define some rules is there, right? And again here, models, it's a pre-trained path, pre-trained AI brains, right? For example, AI model for recommendation papers, history and performance of model. History and performance of model, again, how it will learn. Okay. So for example, you go, whoever is watching this video, he might be a fresher or be an working professional, right? So let's take a live example how our history and performance model works, right? So most of you have been in a relationship, right? So what happens, you just train your brain, you just understand the past trends which had happened to you inside your past relationship. So what will happen, if you will come into a new relationship, you will understand the pattern and you will understand whether that guy is reliable or not. It doesn't matter whether that the person is explaining you the right thing or not, but your brain has been trained by your past relationships, right? So you are able to understand something better. So this is what RL does, and basically this is what it's doing, right? So again, there are more to come. Test automated testers, again, test means these all are the tests py, the testing file which we have prepared it, right? The mock interviews type, whether my everything is working or not, my model testing logic is working or not, my insights whether it's extracting the correct insights or not, my hypotheses have been created correctly or not, my data sets are suggesting right or not citizen. So basically this test is for the mock interview type of thing, my model is working good or not, right? And again, if we will come in UI, so basically UI is the user interface, the user interface which I built it. Again, this is optional, but you can build it, right? Aditi, you have shown your project without user interface, and I have showed with user interface which was Streamlit, right? So again, it's up to you, you can use it. Okay.
Yes.
Again, in utils.py, it helpser.py, it's a reusable code. Okay, helper functions. Reusable code means, like for example, in some part of the code you need to recall that particular thing, so it's better to use the code which is already present than to write it again and again in each module, right?
But
So basically this was the things, and you have to carry forward with these things, you have to understand each and every small step related to it, right? So we are stopping here now, and tomorrow we will start with the deployment, and most probably after a couple of days we will be starting with the new project. So yes, see you then. Goodbye, take care, Jai Hind.